You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Good day and welcome to the Mushie Moment for Tuesday, July 29th. We're coming up at the end of July and the beginning of August. This summer is flying by.
Yes.
How you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's sunny. It's hot. It's the kind of weather you just want to be at the beach. If you're a beach in the hot sun kind of person.
If you are, yeah. Yeah. Are you going to be hitting the dog beach after?
Oh yeah, I'll be taking Cheek out there to do a little running around for sure.
Excellent.
And if you're not that type of a person, it's a perfect day to be indoors with the air conditioning on full blast.
Yes. Yes, it is. Even here in Nova Scotia, it's the same way.
Oh, I may have to close the door to stop those airplanes from being so loud.
Lovely airplanes.
How's your day going? What you been doing besides chatting with me for the last 2 hours?
Well, it's been a hard few days here for me. I lost my elder dog on Friday. So it's been a hard weekend. It's still hard going into today. I mean, like you have a pet for so long and they become a very large part of your life. And our little Suki was definitely that. And even for such a small little 4-pound dog, she's taken a 4 million pound chunk out of our hearts.
Yeah, she's appeared in some episodes, I think, in our past as well.
She has. She's been in my arms for a few episodes.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry that she's gone over that bridge to cross the Rainbow Bridge there, but I'm pretty sure Mika's over there saying, "Hey, let's run."
Yeah. My mom was there to greet her, I'm sure. And I keep telling myself that she's not in pain anymore. If she were still here, it would be devastating for her. She was in a lot of pain when she left. So I'm happy she's not in pain, but I'm going to miss her every single day.
So does that mean the cats get twice as much love right now? Because there's like a spot open that needs to be shared.
Actually, I think the cats have been giving twice as much love since then. My elder cat, Angel, was very nursemaid-ish with Suki the last month, and both cats have been very extra loving, understanding that the pain that we all feel. And even though they didn't interact with the puppy very much, I'm pretty sure they miss her just as much as I do.
Yeah. Over time, bonding happens. Yeah. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to close that door.
Understandable, yeah.
Can you hear the shithawks going too?
I can hear them. Yeah. Yeah, between the shithawks and the planes, it gets quite noisy.
Oh. I have a feeling it's going to get warm in here though.
Yeah, that's
Oh, I forgot to put the chiclet in. I was going to stick a chiclet in there today, so it looked like I had a tooth.
I'm so used to it now, I don't even notice that the tooth isn't there.
Damn you, elote. Oh, man.
Yes. Yes. Well, today we have a few stories that we'd like to talk about. Caught my attention yesterday, and I just shared with Steve that there is a summit, psychedelic summit happening out in BC coming up in the second week of August, which looks pretty neat.
Yes, and I think that I think it's actually because after you sent me that, I went, oh, how many summits is there? And there was so many psychedelic summits happening. A lot of them were May and June, like a lot of them have passed, and I was amazed at how many and how big and how a lot of the people that were hosting them were involved in the medical industry, not just the psychedelics industry. It was quite a beautiful thing to scroll through and see. It's, as people that have been using microdoses and whatnot for a while, it's nice to see it getting more open and honest and available, and the information there, because man, it was hard to find that info when I was looking to put things together.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first decided to start microdosing, finding information was almost impossible. I don't even know where I found the information. It took me a lot of scrolling and a lot of searching to find anything. And now if you go online to learn about mushrooms or any of the other psychedelics, there's just so much information.
Yeah. Yeah. As well as so many places available that, hey, just give us your credit card number. We'll ship it to you.
Yeah.
A lot of people getting burned on those avenues as well, because there's a lot of scam happening, but it's just nice to see it coming in. It's nice to see it being used. It's nice to see it being talked about. It's nice to see it make the news and having conferences.
Yeah.
Like that, that just means that avenue of healing is about to open even more. And in my life, it's been a massive pathway of healing for me.
Amazing.
Want to get to the first story? Want to do it?
Yeah. So we've got a couple stories with the summit that's going on, and we want to share them, and then just kind of converse about them. So the first one is coming to us from the Thai, and it's about this year's Canadian Psychedelic Summit emphasizes connection. Kim Haxton on community and accountability in psychedelic spaces.
At a time when psychedelics are gaining mainstream momentum, the voices most needed in the conversation are often those least heard. Hear, hear. For Kim Haxton, Indigenous leader, land-based educator, and longtime guide in the realms of healing and justice, this gap is deeply familiar. My name is Kim Haxton. My family lineage is I should have read that one first. Potawatomi?
Sounds great.
I am part of the 60s scoop from a community called Wasauksing, the place of the shining bay.
Haxton's work is not about trends or quick fixes. It's about something slower, older, and harder to commodify. Connection. When she speaks of disconnection, it's not theoretical. It's the lived legacy of colonialism, extraction, and displacement. Her work, she says, is about helping people return to right relations with land, with spirit, and with each other. This summer, Haxton will be co-stewarding the Canadian Psychedelic Summit, hosted by the Hollyhock Leadership Institution, August 13th to 17th. The gathering is small, designed to be intimate enough for truth to emerge, for discomfort to be held with care, and for new relationships to take root. The setting on Cortes Island, where Old Cedar Forest meets tidal shores, matters too. Haxton describes it as a container of the land, of the seen and unseen beings.
It's about being grounded in place on the island, she says, slowing the moments down so the magic can happen. Being with the bioluminescence at night, the forest, the trees, the worlds around us. That's where the teachings are, on holding space. Unlike many events in the psychedelic space, this summit is not about optimizing biohacking protocols or commercial strategy. It's about community and the long, often uncomfortable road to true accountability.
Standing in solidarity means walking in action, says Haxton. Part of it means being open to other worldviews. She is clear about the contraindications at play. Plants that have been used by Indigenous peoples for millennia are now criminalized in their hands, even as others profit from their discovery. And in the rush to serve, she warns too many people bypass the deep work of readiness.
Too many people have mystical experiences and suddenly think they're ready to serve medicine. That's dangerous. Seen a lot of that too. The long arc of accountability. Haxton's definition of accountability is expansive. It includes land, lineage, privilege, and power. It asks not just who's at the table, but how they got there and who is excluded along the way. Here.
Yeah. When we talk about equity, we need to look around the table. Who's there? Age, race, language, education, mental health, and diversity has many faces, protocols, and worldviews. At the summit, participants will hear from ceremonialists, researchers, community leaders, and artists, including Indigenous voices. Haxton hopes that the gathering creates not just a moment, but a movement.
I'm always interested in building community. People who wouldn't normally meet come together. I hope we can help spark new projects, relationships, and initiatives long after we leave the island. A different kind of invitation. For non-Indigenous people wondering how to engage with this work respectfully, Haxton offers guidance that is both clear and kind. Be open, be present, be humble. You don't get to say, teach me. Wait for the invitation, she says.
She points to resources like the Yellowhead Institute's Land Back and Cash Back reports and encourages support for community-led projects. One guest at this year's gathering, for example, is launching a youth arts program in their home country, an initiative that summit participants can help sustain. This is what relational, place-based healing looks like. Not a single experience, but an ongoing commitment, one that recognizes the long history behind these medicines and the equally long work ahead.
We're in a time where there's high contrast, Haxton says. How can we move forward in a way that liberates all from different forms of oppression? Why not be in right relationship? Why not make the choice to support, to learn, to show up in ways that actually help each other move toward the next iteration?
Interesting.
I like a few things that she's pointed out in here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I like it's true. It's not about quick fixes. And some people step into this psychedelic world and think they're going to get a quick fix. And some people do. But don't go in with any expectations other than, you're going to learn a lot about what you need to heal and healing.
Yeah. Yeah, in almost any realm that I work in, with almost any medicine and any teachings I have been lucky enough to receive, and one of the first things that everybody teaches is it's not a magic bullet. It takes a lot of preparation and it takes a lot of integration for that ceremony or that sitting, that trip that you had to fulfill in your life. Like, you have to prepare for that. You have to meet the medicine. And then when you come out of medicine, you have to be prepared to take your lessons and integrate them into your life. And with that, you get lasting change, and that's a lot of what they mean by a magic bullet too. You can't expect to walk into medicine, do it, walk out, and be miraculously healed. You have to do the work ahead and after the medicine, and you might need to come back. You might feel that calling to come back later on.
Yep. Yes, and for some people, they go back quite a few times. It's how much have you got to get through? How many shields have you put up to keep yourself safe that you need to remove to let yourself out.
Yeah.
And
how many layers of the onion do you need to peel back? That's one that we've used often.
yeah. So this one that we were talking about is being held in BC on Cortez Island.
And on the bottom of it, it says, if you click here, you can go to the Hollyhock Leadership website. So I did click there, and there it is.
Ah, look at that.
Well, here's the story that you sent me that's on the website, I should say.
So here we are. It says, Shape the Future, August 13th to the 17th, 2025. We are on the precipice of a new psychedelic revolution. Join leaders across sectors to shape the future of psychedelic research, practice, therapy, entrepreneurship, and policy in Canada.
Centering Indigenous and voices of color, our mission is to imbue the psychedelic landscape with greater diversity, practicing a way of being with equity and accountability at our core. We gather on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Clahus, Talaman, and Homlako nations on beautiful Cortez Island in BC. And then we go through some of the speakers. You want to talk about some of the speakers?
Sure. What do we have here? Erica Dick. She's an author, a professor, and Canada Research Chair. She has history of health and social justice. She's from the University of Saskatchewan. We've got Sunny Sonko Viscara Wood, founder and Napaunan cultural community member.
Wow.
That I'm not very familiar with.
What's that?
That I'm not familiar with. I'll have to actually look him up.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Crystal Dawn Silas, who's an MD, clarity breathwork practitioner, harm reduction and psychedelic assisted therapy setting consultant, wellness retreat facilitator. She is also a physician and a herbalist.
And if I'm not mistaken, I saw her speak at the Spirit Plant Medicine Conference.
Yeah, she looks very familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have Tarun Nayar, who is an artist with modern biology.
Oh, look at that. He's holding a piece there. Rihanna Daniels, program coordinator. She's from the First Nations University of Canada. And Kelly Daniels, First Nation University of Canada.
Yeah, Jay Katz, who is an executive director with the Psychedelic Association of Canada. Ooh. Sandra Suzanne Barr Alberco, who is an expressive arts therapist.
Expressive arts. I'll bet you that entails some of that dancing and coloring stuff as well as singing and stuff. Wilhelmina de Castro, LCSW. She's the executive director of Psychedelic Research and Training Institute. Hey, you know what? I actually follow her on some stuff right now on Instagram, and I didn't know it was her. That's interesting.
If we keep scrolling down, we see we meet your team, which includes Kim, who we just had a story about, and her partner Francine Douglas, who is part of the advisory committee.
And then Stephanie Michael Stewart, MD. She's a psychiatrist, Worldwide Wellness and board member, Chacruna Institute for Psychedelic Plant Medicines, and she's on the advisory committee. There's Rad Siraj, founder of Mission Club Minority Trip Report. He's also on the advisory committee. We've got
Summit Bahatia, who's a board member with the Psychedelic Association of Canada. He's an advisor. And Oran Chung, who's operation lead with Hollyhock Leadership Institute. So that's really cool. They've got quite the realm of people involved.
Yes. Wow. What to expect? The fourth annual summit promises to be yet another transformative experience featuring inspiring storytellers, workshops, and opportunities for deep relationship and community building. The key themes, reciprocity and respect, discover how relationship and reciprocity can lead to more inclusive and effective approaches to psychedelic research, therapy, and community building. Practice deep listening and respect for Indigenous communities that have stewarded medicines for millennia.
Wow. Accountability and repair. Explore approaches towards restorative justice based on empathy, restoration, and community empowerment. Practice addressing harm, fostering resilience, and building more equitable and compassionate societies. Healing and well-being. Discover the potential of psychedelics for mental health, personal growth, and healing as we explore their therapeutic applications.
Social and cultural impact. Discuss the ethical, legal, and social implications of psychedelics and their role in society. Wow. You know what? I wish I was going. I'm not going this year, though. Why attend the Canadian Psychedelic Summit? To learn, gain insights from experts and thought leaders on the cutting edge of psychedelic research, entrepreneurship, art, and therapy.
To connect, build lasting relationships with like-minded individuals and professionals who share your passion for psychedelics and your commitment to values. Commit, discover how to be in relationship with the land, Indigenous people, and commit to a just path forward. This is sounding amazing.
Transform, be inspired, explore, and co-create a path forward for our nation, inspired by the potential for personal and societal transformation medicines offer.
Yeah.
Wow. So who should attend? This interdisciplinary summit welcomes individuals from the psychedelic community as a whole. We invite people working across research, not-for-profit, public health, underground, market, government, and other communities to bring their valuable experience and knowledge to this interdisciplinary space.
Wow, with a key outcome to shape more equitable field, we encourage, in particular, participants from equity-denied communities to attend, including folks who identify as BIPOC, LGBTQ2S plus, neurodiverse, physically disabled, and those seeking economic equity. You could have, if we had known about this sooner, we could have applied for scholarships to go. And you can sign up for a newsletter. And then as I scroll down here, here is a little agenda for the summit. They welcome everybody on the 13th. Check-in is at 4, and then they go from there, from the 14th to the 17th. And if I wasn't heading to school on the 15th, I'd be wanting to go. It's expensive though. You do get a chance to have meals and accommodation, as I'm seeing as I scroll down further.
Wow, yeah. You know what? That's not bad for 3 days, though.
Yeah, and they provide everything, as I'm seeing, right? When I scroll. This is definitely something to take a look at for next year, for me. And I might even apply for that. Yeah, apply to go and apply for help.
Wow.
Very
well, that's
cool.
pretty awesome. And that's awesome that, like, for me out here on the West Coast and the islands, like Cortez Island is beautiful. It is an old place of nature. And wow, that's, yeah, that's something to look into for next year for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just getting lost looking in there again.
Yeah, no, I get you. It looks like it's going to be amazing. I took a quick look at that. Where did it go? The agenda that they had. So you come in, you have a welcome dinner. There's some orientation, some connection, and a campfire. And then they have very full days. They've got meditation and Tai Chi or yoga before you start your day. And then you go into, again, grounding and connection and, chats and talks. And they make sure they get movement in there. It looks like it would be really wicked. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. And just sharing of the data. That's so important. I get a lot of people still that are scared, even of microdosing. They're scared of microdosing. And the funny thing is most of the people, once they start, it's like, oh, I didn't even really notice much. Like, oh, it's so subtle, and it just stops this and stops that. And, but that fear, because of the buildup of the stories that have been put out over psychedelics for years. And it's really nice to see that. It's really nice to see that they actually work for healing and not just medicating.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us have been on a lot of medications, and healing, finding that place of healing and that quietness in the brain and that quietness in the heart and the lack of anxiety, that lack of the vibration of anxiety. It's such a beautiful thing. It's weird because, if you'd asked me 5 years ago, I wouldn't have thought it was possible to actually live that way. It wasn't in my reality. But
You'd
a lot of
it, oh yeah, I would have thought life was all about struggle.
Yeah.
And now I understand that it's not, and there's still some struggle to get there. There's still some stuff to go through, but if you sit and let psychedelics hold your hand and then do your work with the integration, it becomes easier. And it's hard to explain that to people. And I get it. Like when you first walk in, like that first time I headed out to BC to do iboga, and I knew I was going to have to face everything in my past. I was so scared, but I didn't see another avenue for myself. It was either that or die. Really is what it came down to. And wow, I don't regret any of that. Like not even a second of it. It was probably one of the hardest things I ever did, to fly out to BC and go across the country and go take some crazy African medicine from some guy I saw in the movies. Like, I mean, and it changed my life for the better. And I don't regret it at all.
No, that's healing is a beautiful thing. It truly is. And the trick is don't be in a hurry. Talk to the people, talk to the facilitators, find the one that's right for you, because not everybody's right for everybody. Right? Not every
medicine is right for everybody either. You need to talk with people and learn about the medicines and figure out, like, should I go do Aya? Should I go do iboga? Should I do neither of those and maybe sit with some magic mushrooms? Like, I mean, there are so many avenues and so many medicines out there that not every single one of them is for every single person. Yeah, it's a good break time.
Hey, it's time for us to take a quick break and go to our sponsors. So thanks for hanging out with us at the Mushie Moment, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
Are you looking to get your medical cannabis grow license? Limestone City Hydroponics can help patients through the process of obtaining their license to grow medical cannabis. What's that? You don't have a doctor? If you meet the medical criteria, Limestone City Hydroponics has a nurse practitioner who can assess and provide medical cannabis prescriptions. What are you waiting for? Contact Limestone City Hydroponics at limestonecityhydroponics.ca or call them at 613-548-0420.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Rerolled Saturdays. Check it out. Nothing but non-stop cannabis and psychedelic programming. Find it at 420pace.ca.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Welcome back to the Mushie Moment for Tuesday, July 29th. We're back for part 2. Come on, where's the crowd? Woo! We got to get a little sound thing.
Oh, we got Carolyn is here. She says hello, Doll and Steve Mather.
Hello, Carolyn.
Hello, Carolyn. And then John Tokum has just showed us some love.
Oh,
Thanks.
nice. Nice. Helen's probably out by the lake right now, so she'll watch it later.
I'm so excited I get to see Helen in September. Yeah.
Oh. Hey, come here, Chikachu. Come here. Come and say hi to the people. Come and say hello.
Hello,
I
Chica.
wanted to be part of the podcast. Say hi to Cindy. Hi, Cindy.
Oh, I get to see you in 2 weeks, Chica. I love you.
Well, that's the dog fun for the day. Okay, quit stealing the show, Chica. Get out of here.
Anyway, yeah, we can go on to the third story if we want.
Sure.
Yeah, we are coming to us actually from MSN. We're going to talk about the psychedelic drug, medicine, DMT, and near-death experiences have long been linked. Somebody's study is the first to explore the connection in depth.
Have you ever wondered why people who nearly die often describe speeding towards supernatural light or seeing their life flash before their eyes? You may have also heard about the powerful psychedelic dimethyltryptamine, DMT, a Class A illegal drug in the UK, and how it might generate the so-called near-death experiences. In a recent study, I compared both types of experience and found they share fascinating similarities, but also critical differences. Some studies have suggested that there are some basic overlaps between the experiences people have during a near-death experience and taking DMT. But my doctoral research was the first to make an in-depth and nuanced qualitative comparison between DMT trips and NDEs. It was also the first field study of its kind capturing authentic experiences instead of asking participants to take DMT in a laboratory.
36 participants took vaporized high-dose DMT, typically inhaled from a glass pipe, in familiar settings like their own homes. My colleagues and I used an interviewing technique inspired by microphenomenology, a new scientific approach which aims to help people discover ordinary but inaccessible dimensions of our lived experience. This approach helps interviewees recall details of their experience by asking them to articulate it moment by moment in their own words and in chronological order while expanding out different dimensions such as sensory or emotional experiences.
Well, I wish there was more about this, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
I bet you we
Oh, there we are. I found it. There is. This allowed us to explore the experiences with greater granularity. For example, in what way the general themes such as meeting unusual beings or feeling yourself dissolve entirely specifically expressed itself. It also allowed us to measure how often each type of these details occur. We then compared these descriptions to our analysis of another team's raw data from their 2018 publication studying 34 cardiac arrest-induced NDEs.
Yes, my study found both types of experiences. My cat is up here bugging me. Experiences had also important differences which researchers have previously overlooked. I think she's under control now. People in both groups commonly reported feeling detached from their bodies, encountering beings, traveling through mysterious spaces such as tunnels or voids, and seeing bright lights. These shared experiences hint at similar brain processes at play, like disruptions in the parts of the brain that handle a map of our body, how we simulate other people's perspectives, sensory perception, and spatial processing.
However, DMT trips almost never involved the more classic NDE life review, dramatizations of experiencers returning to life as in encountering a symbolic threshold of no return. Conversely, NDEs virtually never entailed the visuals of complex geometric patterns iconic to the DMT trip. The most compelling difference, however, was in the way these features were represented. For example, while people with NDEs frequently reported meeting dead loved ones, DMT users universally described encounters with otherworldly or alien beings.
Suddenly finding yourself transformed into a spirit, witnessing your body from above before being greeted by a guide seemed to be characteristic of NDEs. DMT would simply dissolve people's bodily awareness as they rapidly shot into a transcendent world inhabited by mechanical clowns or serpentine scientists. My colleague and I suggest that a blend of shared brain biology and personal psychology may explain why these experiences are so familiar in their genetic element but differ in their content.
Some especially intriguing phenomena in NDEs, such as the Pekindarian experience, where the dying see others they did not know were dead, or correctly perceive things in their surroundings when out of body, are not yet fully explained by neuroscience. But the common features mentioned above probably come directly from how DMT or the near-death state affects our brains. Think of these as universal stage props set by our brain's biology. But the stories we attach to these props, seeing your dead aunt or a multi-eyed octopoid alien, are influenced by our personal backgrounds, cultural expectations, and memories.
DMT and the brain. Early psychedelic researchers suggested that DMT might flood the brain during near-death conditions, but life isn't that simple, and nor is death. Studies have shown, for example, that rats produce DMT not only via their pineal glands, but in their cortical tissues, including at the point of death. But there isn't yet evidence that this happens in human brains. Even if humans do produce DMT at psychoactive quantities in the throes of dying, our body's enzymes could break it down before it reaches or has had enough time or to impact on the brain. Additionally, serotonin surges dramatically when you're under extreme stress, which may itself confer psychedelic effects and also sticks to the serotonin receptor more happily than DMT, possibly eclipsing any DMT activity.
All this said, some scientists argue the measuring methods used to measure rat brain DMT during cardiac arrest might miss short-lived higher DMT spikes throughout the brain. Some researchers also think damage to certain neural networks and oxygen deprivation near death might amplify DMT's psychedelic effects. Interestingly, our study also discovered a subset of near-death experiences that lacked the imagery of the prototypical NDE and instead presented abstract cosmic visions more typical of DMT trips. It's not easy to say where these atypical NDEs could be coming from, but it could be when someone has less preconceptions of NDEs or greater preconceptions of a psychedelic trip. Perhaps her body was synthesizing higher levels of DMT than is usual for an NDE. The next frontier of this research would be to track brain activity when general features crop up. We also need more research to explore potential psychological and cultural reasons why these features are expressed in the way that they are.
Many Indigenous people around the globe may feel contemporary science is superfluous. Anyway, ayahuasca, I'm losing the ability to talk for 5 seconds. Ayahuasca, a shamanic brew that contains DMT, has been used by tribes all over the Amazon to connect to the spirit world and commune with their ancestors. People who have an NDE almost always feel their fear of death lift afterwards. Since DMT reproduces many aspects of NDEs, it could become a powerful therapeutic tool alongside psychological support, particularly for people facing existential anxiety or fear of death, whether they are terminally ill or physically healthy. Scientists are already exploring whether ayahuasca may treat prolonged grief disorder.
We're just starting to demystify what the implications of DMT, this mystical substance, may be.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Wow.
Interesting. Very interesting.
It is, and they can start because this is done with combinations of current and past, it gives a focus on what to do for future.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff there that gives you focus on, putting just more data that can be gathered consciously rather than, what do they have any relationship? Now at least there's spots of relationship that can be viewed and grown.
Yeah, and they are talking about because you've heard us both talk many times about varieties of DMT, and what they are talking about is NN-DMT, which is it comes from it's one of the ingredients used in making the Aya brew, as was stated here.
Yeah. There's some articles coming up. I should have dialed one up. There's articles coming up about people that utilize DMT, and then those mechanical beings or whatever it was that was in that one story there. Mm-hmm. The little elf guys and whatnot. There's stories of people coming back and being completely traumatized and not able to get that stuff out of their heads and stuff. Yep. I put them on the back burner because I want to read them, but I noticed them. It was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I've known a few people that when working with NN, this was a long time ago, that their first number of inhales were great, and although they did have like these two, the way they explained that there were two entities, whether they were mechanical beings or aliens or what how they perceived them. They were two beings, they said. They said that one was masculine and one was feminine. And every time they inhaled and DMT, they felt like these beings became closer to them physically. And the last inhale they did, the beings were right here. So she said, "What do you want?" And they said, "Love." But however they said it or however they looked, whatever she saw and felt absolutely terrified her. Even though they said they wanted love, what she felt was not that. And she can't really explain it, but now she's absolutely, she won't even do mushrooms anymore. She's just kind of done with the whole thing. It really terrified her.
Wow.
What it is, I don't know. And I know other people that sit with NN-DMT on a regular basis, inhalation wise.
Well, reverence, ceremony, and gratitude all have a lot to do with how things work, along with where are you doing it, who are the people around you, the energy around you. There's so much that needs to be looked at. Plus,
Yeah.
what have you been doing? How have you been eating? There's so much. It's weird to come in from a place now because I'm my nickname was Mayhem. My introduction to things was, what color one do you want? Woohoo! Where are we going? It's just a roller coaster ride, and now to have learned reverence and ceremony and the healing aspect. Even back then, the stuff was still working to do what it could do for my healing. I'm sure I would have hit that broken point a lot sooner had I have not utilized psychedelics through my lifetime. I just didn't know that I was using them to heal things or to repair things. I just knew that, boy, they sure took a lot of weight off and made me feel better for long periods of time. Now kind of the science is catching up to stuff, and it's like, oh, that's how it works. That's how it works. Hey, speaking of the science, should we go to the next story?
Sure. Coming to us from Emory News Center, Emory University, psilocybin delays aging, extends lifespan, new Emory study suggests.
And this is an Emory study done here at the Emory University, and it's been actually making a lot of headlines. Psilocybin, the active ingredient in psychedelic mushrooms, may have both anti-aging as well as mental health benefits. As revenues from the anti-aging market, riddled with hope and thousands of supplements, surged past $500 million last year, Emory University researchers identified a compound that actively delays aging in cells and organisms.
A newly published study in Nature Partners journal, Aging, demonstrates that psilocin, a byproduct of consuming psilocybin, the active ingredient in psychedelic mushrooms, extends the cellular lifespan of human skin and lung cells by more than 50%. In parallel, researchers also conducted the first long-term in vivo study evaluating the systematic effects of psilocybin in aged mice of 19 months, or the equivalent of 60 to 65 human years. Results indicated that the mice that received an initial low dose of psilocybin of 5 milligrams per kilogram, followed by a monthly high dose of 15 milligrams per kilogram for 10 months, had a 30% increase in survival compared to mice who hadn't received any. And when they're talking about this, they're talking about the actual psilocybin. So that's the extracted 5 milligrams equals, I believe, a gram of mushrooms. These mice also displayed healthier physical features, such as improved fur quality, fewer white hairs, and hair regrowth.
While traditionally researched for its mental health benefits, this study suggests that psilocybin impacts multiple hallmarks of aging by reducing oxidative stress, which is one of the major causes of cancer, improving DNA repair responses, and preserving telomere length. Telomeres are the little things on the end of your nerves, and they slowly disappear, and aging happens as it is. Telomeres are the structured ends of a chromosome, protecting it from damage that could lead to the formation of age-related diseases such as cancer, neurodegeneration, or cardiovascular disease. These foundational processes influence human aging and the onset of these chronic diseases.
The study concludes that psilocybin may have the potential to revolutionize anti-aging therapies and could be an impactful intervention in an aging population. Most cells in the body express serotonin receptors, and this study opens a new frontier for how psilocybin could influence systemic aging processes, particularly when administered later in life, says Louise Hecker, who's a PhD and senior author on the study. She's also a former associate professor at Emory, where the research was initiated and funded.
While much of what researchers know about psilocybin relates to the brain, few studies have examined its systemic impacts. Many people associate psilocybin with the hallucinogenic impacts, but the majority of the cells in the body express serotonin receptors. Our study opens new questions about what long-term treatments can do. Additionally, even when the intervention is initiated late in life in mice, it still leads to improved survival, which is clinically relevant in healthy aging, adds Hecker, currently an associate professor at Baylor College of Medicine.
Not just a longer life, but a healthier life. This news comes on the heels of KFF's recent report that U.S. life expectancy is still below that of other countries similar in income and size, with an average lifespan of 78.4 years compared to 82.5 years elsewhere. Not only was it the lowest, but as the lifespan in similar countries increased by 7.9 years from 80 to 2022, the U.S. life expectancy has only increased by 4.7 years. This study provides strong preclinical evidence that psilocybin may contribute to healthier aging, not just a longer lifespan, but a better quality of life in later years. And this is said by Ali John Sabari, who's an MD, Director of Psychedelic Research at Emory's Department of Psychiatry. As a palliative care physician, scientist, one of my biggest concerns is prolonging life at the cost of dignity and function. But these mice weren't just surviving longer, they experienced better aging, as Sabari, who was also the co-investigator of the study.
Sarabi emphasizes the importance of further research in older adults, as well as the well-documented overlap between physical and mental health. Emory is actively involved in phase 2 and 3 clinical trials of psilocybin-assisted therapy for depression, and these results suggest we also need to understand psilocybin's systemic effects in aging populations, says Sarabi. My hope is also that if psilocybin-assisted therapy is approved as an intervention for depression by the FDA in 2027, then having a better quality of life would also translate into a longer, healthier life. That's pretty
cool.
That's massive.
Yeah.
That's they at one point they were saying that, when your telomeres were falling off and falling apart, that you weren't able to have them regrow. And now they're saying, lion's mane and psilocybin can affect that growth. Like that's massive. When was this? This is July 10th, 2025. So this is really current, actually.
Yeah. It's been the last couple of weeks. Al and I have almost every week. There's new information coming out about these studies. It's really cool for the last few weeks.
Oh, so the data's not getting old? Sorry, anti-aging.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all good.
I can't help it. It's a bad grandpa joke.
Yeah. Yeah. You need your t-shirt out, dude.
Sorry, I'm sneaking a hoot in the middle of the show. Do we have time to go to that other one?
Listen, yeah, let's do it. We've got a few minutes. Let's I'm just clicking a couple of buttons. Here we go. Coming to us from Reporting Democracy, Psychedelic Healing. Chesia opens mind to magic mushroom therapy.
And this is July 2nd, so this is quite current as well. Czechia looks set to become the first in Europe to legalize psilocybin, the psychoactive ingredient in magic mushrooms for medical purposes. Amid a growing mental health crisis in the country, experts say the bold move offers new hope for sufferers. Lost in depression and anxiety, Jana Bednarova didn't want to live. 20 years of antidepressants and therapy had failed to heal her. She was desperate.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Then 4 years ago, the now 49-year-old Czech tried a microdose of magic mushrooms while in the Netherlands. Relief flooded through her as a little light penetrated the dark clouds for a few hours. It gave me hope, she tells Byrne. Maybe I didn't have to die.
Yeah, that almost it hits me emotionally because I was there.
Me too.
I was there. The potential benefits of psychedelics, drugs that produce changes in perception and cognitive processes such as LSD, mescaline, and DMT for patients resistant to antidepressants and other conventional forms of treatment have been known for decades. However, the drug stigma has held back progress. Only Australia has fully legalized psilocybin, the psychoactive compound found in the fungi for medical treatment.
Yet, while Bednarova pursued the avenue of hope she had discovered independently in the form of magic truffles, a legal source of psilocybin under Dutch law, clinical trials in Czechia have been gaining traction. The country is now on the verge of becoming the first in Europe to legalize psilocybin for medical purposes. At the end of May, MPs in the lower house Chamber of Deputies approved legalization defining psilocybin as a medical compound, and the bill is now headed to the upper house Senate.
This represents significant hope for more than 700,000 people suffering from depression and anxiety in the Czech Republic, a number that is continuously increasing, according to Pires, an NGO involved in funding research led by Bednarova. Specialized environments. Doctors involved in the trials admit that the therapy using psilocybin is expensive and demanding. Patients must be housed in secure and specialized environments, and sessions are combined with in-depth psychotherapy.
If we give psilocybin, the session lasts a whole day. It is important that the environment is specially adapted because the person is very sensitized. This is coming from Jiří Horacek, who's a professor of psychiatry at Prague's Charles University, and he told Czech TV. But the results have many convinced it is worthwhile.
Although there have been some reports of patients reacting negatively, psilocybin trials around the globe have reported significant and rapid progress for participants with clinical depression. It's also thought that the psychedelic therapy could help with post-traumatic stress disorder, chronic pain, Parkinson's disease, and addiction, among other conditions.
Yeah, there's still a long road ahead. If passed, the Czech bill would see psilocybin regulated in a similar way to medical cannabis, which Prague legalized 12 years ago, allowing it to be prescribed by approved doctors. There appears to be little political risk. A recent survey carried out by Cyrez suggested 68% of Czechs would support the use of psychedelics in medical treatment.
Following approval by the lower house, the legislation is now headed to the upper house, where it's thought likely to get the green light. And a signature from President Peter Pavel would be the final step for it to become law. Regulations would then be required to set out who could prescribe it and to whom. Dr. Thomas Pelenicek, who works at the Czech National Institute of Mental Health, as well as the Zion Psychedelic Clinic, where patients are currently treated with ketamine, which is an anesthetic, is legal for medical use around the globe, says the legislation and necessary regulations to allow psilocybin to enter mainstream use in Czechia could be in place as early as the start of 2026. That's earlier than the 2027 talked about in the U.S.
Yeah. While surveys suggest psychiatrists across Europe are generally open to the use of such psychedelics in treatment, they remain concerned about the risks, which include the potential to trigger psychosis in some patients. Still, studies have been conducted or are underway into the medical use of psilocybin, as well as other compounds such as MDMA in numerous countries. Last year, Brussels handed 6.5 million euros to a consortium of 19 European partners for the clinical trials using psilocybin in Denmark, the Netherlands, and Portugal, as well as the Czech Republic.
However, the latter looks set to be the first to legalize the compound. But that doesn't mean hospitals will simply start handing out magic mushrooms.
Professor Pavel Moore, head of the psychiatric clinic at NUDS, says psilocybin has promise, but cautions that it is no magic pill. Psychedelics definitely don't work with everyone, he warns. We need to work carefully regarding issues such as the risk of psychosis, for instance. Although most trials have not had such problems, he notes, there are many other elements to be clarified before this treatment goes into practice.
Advocates also admit there's a long way to go. For instance, a pharmaceutical product will need to be produced. That would then have to be approved by state authorities. Public health insurance companies would have to be involved. Communication with the public over the use of psychedelics will also need to be carefully handled. However, Bednarova predicts that once the system is set up, psychedelics will be quickly adopted, with doctors across the country already keenly asking for information.
Exciting. Curing the Ukraine. Despite the long to-do list, the passage of the legislative bill is helping to put Chechnya at the forefront of international efforts to establish psychedelic therapy in widespread practice. The urgent needs of veterans and civilians amid the war in Ukraine is another driver pushing psychedelic therapy towards mainstream use in Chechnya, thanks to Prague's staunch support of Kiev and the hundreds of thousands of refugees the country hosts.
A recent SIRES conference discussed vital mental health issues that need to be met in the reconstruction of Ukraine and promote the rapid effectiveness of psychedelic treatment for PTSD. Several officials from Kiev spoke, a testament to the NGOs working in preparing a pilot project in Ukraine. It is designed to fit the needs of veterans in a country in the midst of a war, SIRES media chief Thomas Kolder tells Byrne.
Using its experience lobbying Czech legislators, SIRES had to find unique solutions to work within Ukraine law in order to run the trial, which will use ketamine, said Bednarova. Any step forward in removing the stigma from psychedelic therapy is positive for millions across the world suffering due to resistance to conventional treatment, she insists.
We hope the legislation will establish Czechia as a European and global leader, and that the EU and others will follow, she says. The mental health crisis is running fast, and we've got to try to catch up. No freaking kidding.
Absolutely.
And not just over there.
And not just over. Well, we got the story in. We are 2 minutes over, but we're doing good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I quite enjoyed those stories, actually. It was I hadn't read them ahead of time, which you could probably.
I never do. The only one I did read ahead of time was the first one we did, and that's only because I did it yesterday on Pace News. Yeah.
No, that's all of that is good to see happening. It's inspiring. All of it is inspiring.
It is.
Especially, with our own pathways and our own interaction with the mushroom and what it's done for us. Yeah. It's get it going.
Yep.
But I guess it's time to say bye.
It is.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming on and watching us on the Mushie Moment, hanging out, getting the latest in the scoops. And we'll be back next Tuesday. Myself and my awesome co-host, Rev Cindy. And much love. We'll chat later.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network, here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.